So, hello. This is Magda. She's 17. She's half English, half Greek. She has a twin brother. She's going to university soon, and she's one of my best friends. Now, what if I told you that I have never met her before? Would you be able to believe what I just said? Am I able to believe what I just said? On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog, and this is a comic that was published in the New York Times and immediately became popular because it tells the truth about the internet. It's the bad side of the internet that nobody knows who you are and you never know who you're going to meet. But isn't that also a good side of the internet? You never know who you're going to meet. And often it can be friends that are going to last for a very long time. My first interaction with the people on the internet was when I was around 12. You know, before I was just playing one of those farming games on Facebook, and it was actually created for me by my cousin, fortunately. But thinking about it, it was one of those loneliest times, because every time I looked at her screen, she had so many people to chat with. She had so many people to talk to, and all I was worried about was my tomatoes and potatoes growing. So yeah, I told myself, I want friends like that. I want to have someone to talk to. And so when I was 12, I started acting instead of just thinking. And I searched the World Wide Web. I found some sites, I found some apps, and no, it wasn't Tinder or Hot or Not, it was genuine sites. Even though a lot of times the people there had different intentions than me, which you might have experienced yourself if you have ever visited the internet. But all of them taught me something. They taught me how to communicate with people. Because trust me, a lot of them are one of those one-word responses type of people who you want to ask them an existential question, and they reply with, haha, or, yeah, or, LOL. How do you keep a conversation going like that? Well, yeah, I taught myself that, and made my other relationship easier in the future. So, yeah. And actually, after all the conversation, I can make 3 types of conversation you can have. So first one, those are the short ones, which there's no future at all with that. You start with, hey, how are you? Good, how are you? Good, what's up? Nothing much, how about you? Nothing much. And this is the end of the conversation. There is no friendship at all created. Then there is the second type, which is friendships that last pretty much a long time, like it will last weeks and months, and you get along with the person, but after some time you just find yourself in separate ways and you don't know what to talk about anymore. And then the third type is that you start talking to them and you're still talking to them to this moment. So I am lucky enough to have multiple of these kind of friends, and I can actually compare them to my real life friends because we support each other, we love each other, we respect each other, but most importantly, we treat each other like real people, which is really important because what is friendship? How do you define friendship? Is it something, what is it? Is it knowing each other's birthday? Is it how often you communicate? Is it how often you hang out with each other and go to parties together? Because each of you has a different response to this, and each of you is right. So let me tell you a story. I was talking to my friend Joanna from Finland, and I intentionally and unintentionally mentioned another girl's name from Denmark, actually. Her name is Kat, and she got kind of interested in her, so I decided to introduce them to each other. But I didn't tell them where they were from, so when Joanna found out that Kat is from Denmark, which she calls stupid Sweden, they started a Scandinavian fight over which country is better. And just to give you an insight on what the conversation might look like, this is Kat saying, the only thing you have are saunas. What's cool about that? Joanna being like, we have Nokia and Angry Birds. You are not even Scandinavian. You are just a wannabe. Your language is even more stupid than Swedish. And of course, then, a bomb that the Danish girl just had to drop. I don't know much about Finland, but I do know you stole our flag and just changed the colors. And if you want to imagine that, these are the two countries' flags next to each other, so she was kind of right. But despite all this, those two became friends. Do you know how? They found out that they both don't like Sweden. And this is just an example of how random friendship can be. How you can find it in places that you least expect, anywhere, anytime. And it doesn't always have to be friendships. For me, it was even more than just a friendship, and one of my best friends became actually my very first boyfriend. So, meet Tyler. I met him a long time ago. He's from the US. And I still remember how he texted me first. And we immediately started talking. We just clicked, and we could talk for hours and hours. And he was the first thing in the morning that I did. I just talked to him. And the last thing at night that I was doing, I was talking to him. And I tried to connect with him as much as I could. I played some games with him, games. I also became friends with his friends. I started calling him, we started video chatting, until 6 months later when I realized that I might actually have feelings for him and love him, which was really hard for me because I didn't know how to react to that. I didn't know whether it was normal, whether I could do that, how other people are going to accept that. When I found out that the feeling is mutual, I felt kind of better, but still there were questions that were unanswered, and that was, how am I going to tell my parents? How am I going to tell my friends? And is it going to be like this forever? So, actually, after a year and a half, he came to visit me for the first time. And then we saw each other regularly, until a point where I went to the US to see him, all the way to the US. It was actually my first flight I ever took. I went with a family friend because my mom didn't want to let me go alone. And on the way back, on the plane, the family friend just looked at me and went, basically, you don't even have a relationship with Tyler. And I was like, excuse me? Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, you don't see each other often. You don't know what problems are. You don't know how to deal with them together. And that just kind of made me really sad, really hurt me, and really insecure. Because no one knows what we went through, all the times that I stayed up all night just to help him go through some tough times with his family, all the times he was there for me when I just needed someone to talk to after a hard day, and all the times we were upset at each other because we said the wrong things that we didn't mean. But at the same time, we talked every single day. How do you expect someone that talks every single day to not have any conflicts, any complications, and any misunderstandings? So 4 years later, and we're still together. It did. And none of the comments stopped us from that. So no matter the origin, the distance, or the time, the connections you make are all up to you. And it is up to you to decide whether you're going to treat them with respect and let them thrive, or you're going to be the person who's going to send one-word responses. Thank you.